penny dreadful was a type of British fiction publication in the 19th century that usually featured lurid serial stories appearing in parts over a number of weeks, each part costing 1 penny. The term, however, soon came to encompass a variety of publications that featured cheap sensational fiction, such as story papers and booklet libraries. The penny dreadfuls were printed on cheap pulp paper and were aimed at young working-class males. History: Victorian Britain experienced social changes that resulted in increased literacy rates. With the rise of capitalism and industrialization, people began to spend more money on entertainment, contributing to the popularization of the novel. Improvements in printing resulted in newspapers such as Joseph Addis' own unregistered trademark as The Spectator and Richard Stowley unregistered trademark as The Tatler, and England's more fully recognizing the singular concept of reading as a form of leisure. It was, of itself, a new industry. Other significant changes included industrialization and an increased capacity for travel via the invention of tracks, engines, and the corresponding railway distribution. In accordance with these changes, the demand for literature in the mid-19th century intensified dramatically. The penny dreadfuls, named for both their cheap nature and poor, sensational quality, erupted into existence and met the desires of the poor class. The penny dreadfuls became by far the most alluring and low-priced form of escapist reading available to ordinary youth, until the advent in the early 1890s of future newspaper magnate Alfred Harmsworth unregistered trademark as price-cutting halfpenny dreadful or unregistered trademark The term dreadful was originally assumed to express societal anxiety or moral alarm over the new profitable innovation directed at the youth. In reality, the serial novels were overdramatic and sensational, but generally harmless. If anything, the penny dreadfuls, although obviously not the most enlightening or inspiring of literary selections, resulted in increasingly literate youth in the industrial period. The wide circulation of this sensationalist literature, however, contributed to an ever greater fear of crime in mid-Victorian Britain. These serials started in the 1830s, originally as a cheaper alternative to mainstream fictional part works, such as those by Charles Dickens for young working-class males. The stories themselves were reprints, or sometimes rewrites, of Gothic thrillers such as The Monk or The Castle of Otranto, as well as news stories about famous criminals. Some of the most famous of these penny-part stories were The String of Pearls, A Romance, The Mysteries of London, and Varney the Vampire. Highwaymen were popular heroes. Black Bess or The Knight of the Road, outlining the largely imaginary exploits of real-life English highwayman Dick Turpin, continued for 254 episodes. Working-class boys who could not afford a penny a week often formed clubs that would share the cost, passing the flimsy booklets from reader to reader. Other enterprising youngsters would collect a number of consecutive parts, then rent the volume out to friends. In 1866, Boys of England was introduced as a new type of publication, an 8-page magazine that featured serial stories as well as articles and shorts of interest. It was printed on the same cheap paper, though it sported a larger format than the penny parts. Numerous competitors quickly followed, with such titles as Boys' Leisure Hour, Boys' Standard, Young Men of Great Britain, etc. As the price and quality of other types of fiction works were the same, these also fell under the general definition of penny dreadfuls. American dime novels were edited and rewritten for a British audience. These appeared in booklet form, such as The Boy's First-Rate Pocket Library. Frank Reed, Buffalo Bill, and Deadwood Dick were all popular with a penny dreadful audience. In late 1893, a publisher, Alfred Harmsworth, decided to do something about what was widely perceived as the corrupting influence of the penny dreadfuls. He issued new story papers, The Halfpenny Marvel, The Union Jack, and Pluck, all priced at 1/2 penny. At first the stories were high-minded moral tales, reportedly based on true experiences, but it was not long before these papers started using the same kind of material as the publications they competed against. A. A. Milne once said, Harmsworth killed the penny dreadful by the simple process of producing the halfpenny dreadful. the quality of the Harmsworth amalgamated press papers began to improve throughout the early 20th century, however. By the time of the First World War, papers such as Union Jack dominated the market. Legacy. Two popular characters to come out of the penny dreadfuls were Jack Harkaway, introduced in The Boys of England in 1871, and Sexton Blake, who began in the Halfpenny Marvel in 1893. In 1904, the Union Jack became Sexton Blake's own paper, and he appeared in every issue thereafter, up until the paper's demise in 1933. In total, Blake appeared in roughly 4,000 adventures, right up into the 1970s, a record only exceeded by Nick Carter and Dixon Hawk. Harkaway was also popular in America and had many imitators. The fictional Sweeney Todd, the subject of both a successful musical by Stephen Sondheim and a feature film by Tim Burton, also first appeared in an 1846/1847 penny dreadful entitled The String of Pearls, a romance. Over time, the penny dreadfuls evolved into the British comic magazines. Owing to their cheap production, their perceived lack of value, and such hazards as wartime paper drives, the penny dreadfuls, particularly the earliest ones, are fairly rare today. The experimental art rock band Animal Collective had a song called Penny Dreadfuls on their debut album Spirit They're Gone, Spirit They've Vanished. The Irish literary magazine The Penny Dreadful takes its name from the Penny Dreadfuls. A horror television series set in Victorian England entitled Penny Dreadful debuted on Showtime in May, 2014. See also: Dime novel, Gothic fiction, History of the British comic, Pulp magazine, Pulp fiction, Story paper, Notes and references, Notes. References. Sources: Anglo, Michael. Penny Dreadfuls and Other Victorian Horrors. London, Jupiter. ISBN A0-904041-59-Exa, Carpenter, Kevin. Penny Dreadfuls and Comics are English periodicals for children from Victorian times to the present day. London, Bethnal Green Museum of Childhood. ISBN A0-905209-47-8. Casey, Christopher. Common Misperceptions, The Press and Victorian Views of Crime. Journal of Interdisciplinary History 41, 367 €391 doi, 10.1162/JINHA00106. PMIDA 21141651. Chesterton, GKA Defence of Penny Dreadfuls. London, The Daily News. Haining, Peter. The Penny Dreadful, or, Strange, Horrid and Sensational Tales. London, Victor Gollancz. ISBN A0-575-01779-1. James, Louis. Fiction for the Working Man 1830 €50. Harmondsworth, Penguin. ISBN A978-0140600377. Powell, Sally. Black Markets and Cadaverous Pies, The Corpse, Urban Trade and Industrial Consumption in the Penny Blood. In Andrew Maunder and Grace Moore. Victorian Crime Madness and Sensation. Burlington, Vermont, Ashgate. ISBN A0-7546-4060-4. Turner, E.S. Boys Will Be Boys. London, Michael Joseph. OCLCA 59145088. Springall, John. Disseminating in Pure Literature the Penny Dreadful Publishing Business since 1860. Economic Historical Review 47.3 567-584. JSTOR Web December 8, 2012. External links: Black Bess or The Night of the Road. A Tale of the Good Old Times, British Library collection of images from Penny Dreadfuls, Marie La. Copyright Gare St. Jean. Price 1 penny, Cheap Literature, 1837 to 1860. University of Cambridge A.